So today, we're going to take a look at a new platform that wants to completely flip the script for online creators. It's called ContentLynk, and it's all built around one really simple but kind of radical idea. What if you could actually get paid for your content from the very first post you make? Let's dive in and see how they're planning to make that happen.
I mean, this quote from the platform's founder, David Syme, really just says it all, doesn't it? It gets right to the heart of the problem. You've got so many creators out there spending years pouring their hearts into making content. Some of it even goes viral, and at the end of the day, they see zero, zip, nothing in their bank account for all that work. It's a huge frustration that I think a lot of people in the creator world can relate to.
And that really leads to the central question behind ContentLynk's whole mission. If the current system just isn't cutting it for most creators, then what's the alternative? What would a platform that actually puts creators first even look like?
Okay, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll unpack the problem creators are up against right now. Then, we'll get into ContentLynk's new model, see how you'd actually earn money, take a look at their revenue sharing system, and then wrap up with their vision for the future and their beta launch. All right, so let's kick things off by really digging into the challenges that creators are dealing with on the big traditional platforms today.
This chart right here really puts the differences in stark contrast. So let's start with revenue share. On traditional platforms, you're lucky to get, maybe 0 to 5%? ContentLynk is proposing 55 to 75%. That's a massive difference. Then you've got follower minimums. We're talking thousands, sometimes even millions of followers needed just to start, versus 0. And this is a big one, content ownership. On most platforms today, they pretty much own your content. The idea here is that you keep the ownership.
So, just to sum it all up, the system we have now usually means you get a tiny slice of the pie, you face these huge barriers to even get started, you might have to wait a year or two before you see a single cent, and the whole time, the payment algorithms are a total black box, and you don't even have full control over your own work. It is a really tough environment to try and make it in.
So that's the problem. Now let's flip over and look at ContentLynk's proposed solution. How exactly do they plan on fixing all these issues?
This sentence right here, this is their core promise. Instead of running into a giant wall, the idea is you're welcomed in from the get-go. Your content has value the moment you hit post, not after you spent months or years jumping through a bunch of arbitrary hoops to build a following.
So how do they actually plan to deliver on this promise? Well, it comes down to a few key things they're proposing. Absolutely no barriers to entry, that massive revenue share we talked about, instant payments using digital currency, an algorithm that's built to value real engagement over just mindless scrolling, complete ownership of your work, and get this, even giving the community a say in how the platform is run.
Okay, that all sounds really good on paper, right? But how would it actually work? Let's break down the mechanics of how a creator would actually earn money on this platform.
The whole process is designed to be super straightforward. Step 1, you sign up and you post your content. Step 2, as people in the community engage with it, like, comment, share, you earn. And step 3, you just connect a digital wallet and you can receive those earnings directly.
Now this is where you can really see their focus on meaningful engagement. Their quality score formula gives a ton of weight to comments and shares. We're talking 5 and 20 times more than a simple like. The goal here is to reward content that actually sparks conversation and gets people talking, not just stuff that gets passively scrolled by.
So payments are made using a digital currency called HVNA tokens, and they're sent right to your personal digital wallet. You can just think of it like a direct deposit system, but way faster and without a bank sitting in the middle. The earnings go straight from the platform to you in real time, and then you can convert them into dollars or whatever other currency you use.
All right, now let's zoom in a little closer on that revenue share, because this is probably one of the biggest changes from how things are normally done.
I mean, the difference here is just it's night and day. You can see this huge, massive gap between what creators get now and what ContentLynk is proposing. We're talking about a potential 15 times increase in the percentage of revenue going straight into the creator's pocket. It's a game changer.
And the system is also tiered. So the base rate starts at a really high 55%, but creators can actually increase their share all the way up to 75%. The way they do this is by owning special digital assets from the platform, they're called NFTs, that basically act like membership passes. It's a cool way to reward the early adopters and the most dedicated members of the community.
And if that wasn't enough, on top of that tiered system, there's another pretty significant bonus. People who hold a special Creator Pass NFT are set to earn an extra 50% on all of their content earnings. That creates a really huge incentive for the platform's founding members.
So who's the person behind this whole vision? And, how far off is this from actually becoming a reality? Let's take a quick look at the founder and what the road ahead looks like. The founder, David Syme, he has over 35 years of business experience under his belt, and that includes building a successful company from scratch. But his motivation for ContentLynk seems really personal. It came directly from his own frustrating experience as a creator, which actually led him to write a whole book about why digital ownership is so important.
And this isn't just some idea on a napkin. The platform is actually in development right now. The core technology, the smart contracts have already been tested, and the target for a beta launch is set for the second quarter of 2026.
And for that beta, they aren't just looking for a few people to try it out. They're planning to bring on 1,000 creators right from the start.
So why 1,000? Well, it's actually a really strategic move. A group that large makes it much harder for anyone to try and game the system. It also helps create a real community vibe from day one, and lets them test the platform with all kinds of different creators, which makes all the feedback they get way more valuable.
And that really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? Now, ContentLynk is still being built, but it does represent a really fascinating vision for the future. Could a system that's built from the ground up on fairness, on transparency, and on creator ownership, could it actually change the digital world as we know it? For the millions of creators out there grinding every day, it's definitely a future that's worth thinking about.